Joining me up on stage is Allison Beelan and Daniel Griffin from Duke University Press. And they are here to do some things in real time, explain their process, but really walk us through the mindset of what product creation and ideation looks like at Duke. And I'd like to thank them in advance for being so game to come up here and do things, even just a little thing live in front of a group like this. So let's give them a round of applause. And Allison, if you'd like to come up and start, see how it goes.
Get my clicker on here. Let's see. Oh, can you hear me? Okay, great. So thank you, Jake, for that introduction and for having us. So what I'm going to talk to you about today is product diversification that's happening at Duke University Press and how being on the unified platform is enabling that. So really quickly, a little bit about Duke University Press. We're a department of Duke University. We publish books and journals primarily in the humanities and social sciences. We have about 25 ebooks, a couple over 50 humanities and social science journals, and they are all at our platform at read.dukeupress.edu, which we launched in November of 2017. So it's almost a year old, and we launched it with Silverchair. And just to set up some excitement later, so this is what it looks like. This is the entry point to it, just a big search box that searches across all of our content. And I just want you to note that right now, this Gender Studies Complete is a page not found. And if everything goes well, by the end of this, that won't be the case. So as a university press that publishes books and journals, we are like most of our peers in that way, in that the old story is that books made the reputation and journals made the money. And that journals revenues not only covered losses in other parts of the enterprise, but also growth in journals revenue was absolutely critical to actually growing the press. And so under that old story, our product model has been pretty simple. We have our books and we have our journals, and we sell them individually, in print and digitally. And then after a little while, when the times became what they are, we combined them into two primary digital collection products, which were essentially, subscribe to all of our journals for a year, subscribe to all of our books for a year. So the new story is that journal revenue growth is slowing, or ours is at least. I don't want to speak for everybody. And what we're realizing is we may not be that far from every library that would want the products we have actually having them. So we had to stop and take a look and decide what we were going to do when we reached peak subscription. And so our solution to that was to look at that set of content and to say, okay, we need to diversify our product set. With the hope being that we could appeal to more libraries who we hadn't been talking to, libraries who didn't want to talk to us, just anybody who would buy our stuff, potentially. And then also a joint strategy is over time to strengthen our direct-to-consumer channel as well. And we knew that we needed all of our books and all of our journals in one place to be able to execute this strategy. Because we're wanting to combine in different ways from within those two primary digital products and develop and deploy these new products quickly. And so in 2017, we launched the Read site. And since launching that site, we've begun executing this strategy. We began with new ebook products, which were aimed at providing more targeted, smaller, somewhat less expensive products that we could take to institutions who might have specialties in these areas, who may have institutes or departments that are very strong in these areas. So currently we have 4 eDuke book subject collections, and we have 2 more slated to launch in 2019. We also began experimenting with new licensing options around these products. So we're in the midst of this product diversification. Up next, so in 2019 and past 2019, we're actually contemplating and trying to figure out how to do custom ebook packages. And that's where a customer chooses these specific titles they want in a single purchase, and we discount by volume. The more books they buy, the less they cost. And then also, kind of around the bend, our first book and journal combined product, which would be Gender Studies Complete, featuring 600 of our titles in gender studies and 3 journals with significant back volumes in that area also. So as I mentioned, we saw the platform as critical to being able to execute this strategy, and it has been a key enabler. Not only is all of our content in one database and providing, a single user experience and analytics, as others have mentioned, but we also, with the tools that Silverchair's platform provides, have the tools to ourselves independently, without calling Silverchair, to assemble these content packages as products, build a whole new site ourselves, associate the content and the product with the site, and then annually update them and launch new ones. And this is good that we have these tools, because in 2019, just with the 4 sort of base products that we've launched, plus the 2 new ones, we're going to be building 4 new base products, 2 new sites. We're going to be adding 8 annual top-up products to the existing collections. We're going to have to update 4 of the sites, and we're going to have to add 10 new MARC products. These are MARC records that support our library customers when they buy our ebooks. So diversifying your products, adding more of them, creates a lot of work. And so it's really critical for us to have the right tool set in place to do this. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to my colleague Daniel to talk about and show you a little bit about what that tool set is.
Hello, everyone. This is my good. Can you hear me? I think when Allison said that we are going to be building these things, she really meant Daniel is going to be building these things. And so I'm here to show you how I would do this. I went through the effort of creating pretty quickly a Gender Studies Complete site, and I'm going to basically walk you through what I did to it. So what you're going to see here is me using the Silverchair tools. There are 3 of them. Product Builder, which is where we set our entitlements. Site Builder is where I build the actual site. And Site Master is where I administer it, and that's the main Silverchair tool as well for access and subscriptions. So of course, this is going to happen pretty quickly, but I need a lot of stuff in advance. I need to know what's in the product, and I'm going to start 6 months out for this. Product name, description, URL, logo, all these sorts of things. But what's really great about this is that I don't have to go to a journal editor who's busy teaching classes and ask them to submit something. The production step is completely out of here, which is great. We can keep all that in-house. We don't have to labor our editorial staff in building these sites. So the first step of this is that I just create a product. It's pretty simple. We match the code to our fulfillment system. We build it up. We construct a Solr query. I do it pretty quickly, cut and paste, and there's the product. So we now have the product there. That's it. And then I move over to Site Builder, which is my next tool. This is where all of our sites are built. I create a space for it. I have to know the name of it. I have to know where the URL is, but we have a template that we use for most of this. The tool creates this space. Takes a little bit longer than that to build, but Jake promised to slip me a Benjamin if I cut down some of the loading screens. But it's pretty easy. Then I upload the assets. I create another query to see to activate what it's going to search for in this particular product. It's right now a exact duplicate of what I just created in the product builder, but we're working with Silverchair to build solar queries based on product codes so that I can just compose different products in the future without having to maintain those lists separately. So I'll just say I need the 2018, 2019, 2020 collections together and just put them in here. And then I actually go about building the site. This is done in the XML files. This is me working off a template. We built a template. It wasn't, this is a good shibboleth. I can give this to marketing staff and they say, okay, can you edit this? And if they say yes, it's, oh, okay, then you do it, and I won't have to do it anymore. But for now, it's just me doing this. It doesn't take very long. A couple quirks, but this is where I put in the pages, I put in widgets that are going to fill things out, and any downstream data deposits that may occur. From this point, I just upload those XML files, and I can click publish the site. It puts it in a restricted live setting. So this is an area where our internal staff can look at it. It's right there, and I can see if the colors are lining up and if the logo's there, and start building out the widgets. It's not going to be available to the general public at this point, but we're pretty close to that. From this point, I move over to SiteMaster, which is the general administration tool, and I add in my self-serve content. We have you'll see me here putting in a snippet of code for a hero image. The nice thing about this is that this SiteMaster tool is available to any DUP staff that we want. So I can, at this point, hand it off to the designer and say, go build the site how you want, add the colors you want, that sort of thing, and hand it off. And at this point, once they're ready to go, I really just need to click live. And so we're going to do that now. And it's going to be tab. Are you sure? And so start building. What's really nice about this is that it is relatively quick to do this. And this is the same process I'm going to use when I'm building out new journal sites if we've acquired a new journal. When I first started in this role, the process of doing that required a couple months of planning, involved a lot of different people from different parts of the organization, editorial, design, production, lots of scheduling going on. And now I can even an extremely attractive classics major such as myself can do this now. So now we should be good to go. It says public live. So let's see how fast AWS is at updating everything. There it is. So, and that's it.
I'd just like to note how extremely generous I am to leave the wow to Daniel. It's not, now I get to dive in and tell you all about the dirty secrets that are under the other hood, which is in the back office, back home at Duke University Press. But I will say that, I think you could, Jake promised, well, I'm sorry, Jake did not promise. Jake mentioned that a benefit of a unified platform is instant site and product creation. It's not instant, and it has a big lead up. It took Daniel a few sites to really optimize the process, but he does have it down pretty optimally now, and it's, you said when you have everything together, it's maybe 2 hours. So that's pretty cool. And it's not WYSIWYG. You can't just throw it open to any of your staff. It's got some gnarly XML files in there. Solar Query is a whole language that nobody but solar programmers really know, and nice people at Silverchair who are helping us with them. But it's also not rocket science, and it is well within our grasp. And I even have hope that it is well within, say, our marketing team's grasp eventually, once we're sure we know how to use it. So what I want to talk about is the other piece. We were so eager to have these platform tools in our control That I feel like I was a little bit blindsided by where it turned out that the real challenge was, which is in our internal processes and systems. And so we are now building this infrastructure internally to be able to assess new product ideas, plan the products, launch the products. So some of those processes include putting together a formal process assessment team and a way that we do this and a way that we can track things. And for the first time, being able to bring in the technology team into the room at the same time in the early stages with the sales team and the customer relations team. Another piece of this is once we know what the product is, it's not just about building a site on the front end. It's actually got to be in our back-end business system, in our fulfillment and order system. And it turns out that can require a lot of setup at the front end, a lot of manual touches. So we're looking at ways to use easy tools like Excel to try to put some of that work into the hands of non-technical people. And then we're also going to stay in close contact with our fulfillment system vendor about, are we using your tool in the best way to do this? Are there things we're missing? Or can you build better support for this? And then also we're learning to use our existing bibliographic database to support these products, both just in terms of organizing them, but also associating marketing content with them and being able to output title lists. And then really the hard work is building our own sort of knowledge of what practices we need to manage these products. Excuse me, this greater set of products. That includes, we're hoping to, if we set them up in the bibliographic database, to some degree to generate these Solar queries as data outputs from that database. That's not a natural thing. We're having to hack it together in Crystal reports to insert all the Solar syntax. But it's pretty cool. And then a big one is just sort of the order of operations. Okay, we're doing this. What has to happen first? What can't happen until, what are the contingencies? What can run in parallel? Where does it all have to come together? And then, as Daniel mentioned, there's a lot to this, assembling a lot of stuff, and we want to be able to eventually share with other people, and we don't want to be the heroes who the organization can't survive without, so we're building a lot of how-to instructions using our own internal department wiki to capture all of this as we figure it out. And then back to the platform side of things, one thing that we realized is once you start multiplying products, you end up with a lot of products. And I'll just show you, I think we have some 500 products in Product Builder and maybe 60 sites. And the tools are great, but they're young, and there's not a lot of options other than just sort of a raw search for managing that whole list, finding things, grouping things. So we've created sort of a wish list of what we're hoping to work with partners to accomplish. Like I said, we'd like to see more automation or more optimized use of our back-end office systems. We're going to continue to manage our product lifecycle process better. And then from Silverchair, we're looking for sort of more searching and filtering features in Site Builder and Product Builder, the ability to group products together and work with them as groups, the ability to create new products and sites by copying from an existing one, Solar query generation by just kind of putting in the fields you want, like from this date to this date, and then pop out a Solar query. Neil. And then use of product code to connect the content to the site. Daniel mentioned that right now. These Solar queries are gnarly, and you're putting the same one in two different places. And then if you go update the product, you have to update the site. So we see a lot of efficiencies to be gained there. And then eventually the ability, each of those, that config file, that XML config file, there's one for each site. So the ability to publish global updates across all the sites at once is sort of a dream also. But that's where we are. It's been really successful for us. And like I said, the challenge ended up not being how do we learn to use these tools? The challenge ended up being how do we organize ourselves to do this thing that we've never had to do before. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. So we just published a website. I don't know what the time code is for that, but if everyone could just code their time to gender study complete for 30 minutes.
Well, and we're going to be working with you later today to take it down because it's
Oh,
not a real product that is ready for prime time.
Look at it now. They might want it a few blocks from here.
Yeah.
Questions from the audience for Allison or Daniel? I do have a question on the iPad, and that is, how do you balance keeping your pricing model simple with offering flexibility to the customers without having the customers have to work really hard to figure out how and what to buy?
I really feel like punting to my library sales manager who's in the audience.
Come on up.
Kim Steinley is our library relations and sales manager.
We've got a microphone for you.
That's a hard question.
And we're wrestling with it right now around this custom ebook package, just trying to puzzle it out ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, I think what we're trying to do is say, if somebody wants to buy something from us, I don't want to say no. But also, how can we, when we put out a product, one of the things that we talk about in assessment, which Allison mentioned, is we need to be able to do it well. If we put 10 products out to market next year and we can't administer them very well, that's not going to be a good look for us. So we think pretty carefully. Our wish list is big, but we think carefully about what we're going to put to market and when. And it's hard because we do have to say no to customers sometimes. They want to pick and choose. We don't have that yet. They want to do combos of things. We don't have that yet. So it's definitely a balance, and I think now that we have the tools to do things faster, we are going to have to figure out, as Allison said, how we're going to deal with this internally, because we have to be able to manage these things well, or the librarians are not going to be happy with the purchases that they made if we can't manage them properly.
Yeah, and I mean, what we're experiencing literally Tuesday morning is a push and pull, a productive push and pull between Kim and me, as he says, well, I don't want a minimum. And I say, but that makes it not a volume-based product. And we, in the early stages of what is the product, that balance of sales saying, I want to meet any need out there and take advantage of it, and product saying, how fast do we want to bring this offering, and how confident are we that we can figure it out and support it?
I like whoever said, I don't know if it was you, Jake, but the tension is natural between sales and product.
I'm not taking credit for that. That was Jasper.
Okay, well, Jasper, thank you for saying that, because I was like, yeah.
One more question here in the back. Just on time, I think we'll just go one more, if that's okay.
Well, I was going to ask a question similar to the one that was just raised, but mine was more simple. How do you keep your customer service and sales staff from going insane?
Me again.
Well, let me speak from a product point of view, because when they get frazzled, it hits us. When things go wrong, it hits us. And one thing that I really love is that in this product assessment process, I think it used to just be, when it was this simple thing like all books, all journals, it was sales coming up with that, along with with senior management. And then they went to customer service and said, okay, let's set it up and let's sell it. Now that it's more complicated, in that product assessment room and figuring out all of this, it's sales, it's customer relations, and it's product. And then I also happen to manage the person who manages the fulfillment system. So it's also that person in there as well. And so they may be thinking this is going to make me crazy, but they're also in on the ground floor. They're contributing their expertise. They're representing what they know is going to come up from the customer, and they know from beginning to end how this is all supposed to work. Would
Great.
you-
Well, thank you again to Allison, Daniel, and Kimberly for being brave and launching a site with us. Thank you.